All right, so we are on time. Good morning, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. Very warm welcome to everyone joining us today's Sitecore User Group Jaipur meetup. We are excited to have you all with us today for another great learning and knowledge sharing session. Today, we have an interesting session on custom MCP clients and chatbots in .NET and Next.js, and where we'll see how to build custom MCP clients in .NET to follow MCP standards. And to present today's session, we have Nelson with us. So Nelson is a three-time Sitecore Technology MVP and currently working as a senior solution architect at Horizontal Digital. So without taking much more time, let's get started. Nelson, over to you.
Thanks, Sumit, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. So, myself, Nelson, as Sumit said. So, before getting started, we can see the agenda, what we're going to do today. So, first, we'll understand what is the Sitecore Marketer MCP and what is Agent API and how to build the custom client. Uh, we already have some clients like Claude, VS Code, Cursor, and a lot of other clients are there. But then we'll see what is the purpose of the custom client, like a .NET application or some a third-party application. What is the purpose of that one? We'll see that one. And finally, we will create a marketplace app using this MCP server and how can we able to communicate this MCP server from the marketplace app. Okay. Um, that's exactly what we're going to see today. Finally, we can go for the questions. Okay. Before getting started, so first let me show what exactly the MCP is. That before getting into Sitecore Marketer MCP, let's understand what is MCP. So MCP is a model context protocol first. So basically, we have a lot of LLMs available in the market, right? So each and every LLM has their own way of SDKs or something like that, right? So in order to communicate with them, so it is difficult. So each and every developers has to write their code in for accessing like Cloud or ChatGPT or whatever is OpenAI. So we have to follow one standard, so where we can create our pool calling. Initially, it was say for an example, if we want to do any create a .NET, you can create some functions. So we used to call it function calling. When we communicate with ChatGPT, that the way of coding will be different. Same function calling for Cloud will be different, right? So we have to come up with a unified way to connect with this one. So that is where the MCP comes into picture, where all these kind of functional functions can be called through one common way. Okay, and that is called tool calling. That's where the MCP comes into picture. Okay, so now we know how the basic of MCP. Now let's understand what is Sitecore Marketer MCP. So a couple of a year back, I hope so, a year back, some of the community member already created an open source MCP server which will communicate with Sitecore to do all the operations like create the Sitecore items, modify, edit. You can do a lot of operations in Sitecore. Okay, so after that, Sitecore officially come up with their own Sitecore Marketer MCP server, so which will help the developers, right, to connect with Sitecore from their development environment, like development client like VS Code or Cursor or something, so they can do all the actions like creating the Sitecore items through the AI, modify the items, delete the items, whatever. We can even create a personalization rule for the product, for the item which is available in the Sitecore, right? So that is the purpose of the Sitecore Marketer MCP. So Sitecore officially come up with. So here, as I mentioned, that we can able to create pages, managing languages, all kind of operations we can do, like authoring operation, personalization operations, even you could see recently they have introduced like a brand kits, right? So brand kits, briefs. So basically you can create a briefs as well and validate the briefs. So in Sitecore AI portal, we actually creating a briefs, right? So we can also able to do those things using Sitecore Marketer MCP. Okay. Again, as I mentioned, we can create a personalization. See, these are all the functionality which we can able to handle through Sitecore Marketer MCP, like site management, page content, which will create retrieve pages, content is basically modifying, update, delete. So all this operation which we can able to do. Okay, so this is the purpose of the Sitecore Marketer MCP. So, but there is a challenge, right? So first of all, uh, we doesn't know what happening behind the scene because we just gonna call the tools. Tools is basically like Sitecore. Our when we connect to Sitecore Marketer MCP, they will be providing a set of tools for us. So basically, the tools means a kind of a function name. Think about that, a kind of function name. We will be calling the functions. Using that functions, we can able to get the relevant action performed. Okay, again, we don't want to exactly call the tool name. We can provide a natural language. Okay, say for an example, I want to create a page. So I can just in a natural language, I can say Sitecore, go ahead and create a page under this particular website. This is my item name. You can just provide in just a basic language. So this AI, it will internally able to identify which tool it need to be identified, and it will relevantly it will execute the function and create the necessary things in the Sitecore portal. Okay, so this is basically how the Sitecore Marketer MCP works. Okay, but as I mentioned before, right, everything is tools is internally going to call some kind of um, uh, this one, right? Like example, if you want to delete or insert or some pages, right? So technically, it's doing some logic behind that one, right? So maybe it will kind of calling some authoring API. We don't know about that. That's internal to Sitecore, but think about it. It might call an authoring API to add, delete, or something, right? So we just gonna call the function, but internally it will gonna do all the processing. So that's where the agent API comes, right? Agent API is basically while we're giving a prompt in your code or in a chatbot, right? So if you ask for creating a page in Sitecore, so basically that find a MCP tools. Say for example, the MCP tool name will be create a page. That might be your MCP tool. Okay. So once the tool has been identified, then it will fire an agent API. So agent API is internally an API endpoint. So behind the scene, that will do all the necessary jobs. Okay. So basically, agent API interact with selected Sitecore instance and perform the operations through REST endpoints. Okay, so exactly this is how the agent API also works. So we don't want, so if I want to interact directly with the agent API, yes, I can do that. As a developer, yes, you can do that. But think in terms of a marketer, they don't want to write any agent APIs, right? So that is where we are planning to give a chatbot for them to do all this action instead of using agent API. So yeah. Uh, so before that, right? So Sitecore keep recently updating their tools. Okay, initially it was like 44 tools. Now it is comes to 56 tools at the moment from the MCP marketer MCP, because they keep on adding new features like briefs, as I mentioned, briefs and brand kits and all other information. They keep on adding it. So we are having more functionality, more way of to do a lot of things in Sitecore. Okay, now let's see if I want to do as a developer, if I want to do connectivity to the agent API directly. So we can this way to communicate with the agent API. So first of all, in order to do that, so we can go to Sitecore AI deploy portal. From there, under the credentials tab, I think everyone aware of how to create a credentials, right? We can go to the same credential tab. From there, you can create an automation key, which will help us to able to fire this, which will able to give us the bearer token. From there, we can able to communicate with the agent APIs. Okay, so let's see. Uh, that one. So let me show you first about the agent API, and then we'll go through how we're gonna create a custom client and all those things, right? So first, as I mentioned, I have created thing that I have went to the Sitecore portal. I generated the client key and secret. Then this is my endpoint where I will be firing it to get my bearer token. So this is the once I run it, I got my bearer token. So once I got my Ballot token, right, these are all some of the agent. This is some of the APIs I have listed here. So these are like are listing the website, listing sites. Okay, so in particular environment, right, we have a lot of particular project. We have a lot of sites and something, right? So we can here I'm trying to list sites again. This is the direct API call. You could see there is a direct API call. This is not the MCP marketer MC server. But when I asked the first time, go and create a pages, go and create a sites, this kind of endpoints will be triggered behind the scene, and that is what is going to perform the action in the Sitecore CMS. Okay, so here example like uh, where we can have the barrel token. If I just send it, so basically you could see there is all the list of sites which is available in my Sitecore AI Cloud portal, which is displayed here. So these are all the sites which I have in the portal. Okay. So similarly, if you want to create an item, right, it would be the same thing. So you can create an item, you can delete an item, and a lot more things. If you say, for an example, if you want to get all the available brand kits, right? So inside core streams, you will be creating a brand kit. So based on that, you want to do the content, right, based on the brand kit. So again, if you want to understand what are all the available brand kits, again, the Sitecore API, agent API will also help you to do that. Again, you can simply call the Marketer MCP tool to do that directly as well. Okay, so these are the both ways which we can use it. Yeah, on this. So let me go back. Okay, so now, custom MCP client. Let's see why we need a custom MCP client, right? As I before said, right, we have VS Code, we have um, other Cursor, or we have many tools there out there, right? And each and every tool can communicate or connect with this MCP servers, right? So the point here is that those are all directly connected to that client, right? And you can't create any kind of app out of it. So it is tied to your VS Code or your cursor. So you will be connecting with your MCP through your LLM. From the same client itself, right? You can't create any application out of it. So what here what we can see is that we will be creating application using the Sitecore provided marketer MCP URL. Okay, so that is exactly we will be trying to do here. Okay. So here also one more thing you could see, like the marketer again. If you are a marketer, right? So um, you will never gonna marketer never gonna use VS Code to communicate with the Sitecore, right? So end of the day, they have to look for some kind of application which can able to communicate with them, right? So that is important for us. So that is where we will be creating some kind of app which will help the marketers to communicate with Sitecore. Okay, so now let's see here. That's the Sitecore provided marketer MCP URL. Okay, so you could see we have two URLs at the moment right now, which is the marketer.sitecorecloud.io and edgeplatforms.sitecorecloud.io. Okay, so the first, the one which is showing in the first is basically in the latest one. Okay, the below which is saying edge hyphen platform is basically going to be depreciated soon. Okay, so this is what introduced first, and based on the new recent changes, Sitecore is also provided what the latest endpoint, but the below endpoint will be soon depreciated. But again, for this demo, I'm still using the below one only. Again, this is still working. Okay, so we don't have any problem. Again, I can use either marketer.sitecore cloud or the below endpoint. Both will work with the same concept. What I'm going to do. Okay. Again, one important thing you guys need to know is the auth type. Okay, so what do you mean by auth type here? So technically, like if you try to connect with your VS Code, right? If you want to connect with your VS Code, what will exactly happen is basically it will look for your it will ask for your authentication by opening the browser, and it will ask for the authentication. So if I could open a VS Code and show you that. Right. Yes. It's taking a lot. Okay, let's do from cursor so that it's easy because I already opened it somewhere. Yeah. So you see, this is cursor right now. So if you could see, technically we are using this is the way we will be connecting with Sitecore Marketer MCP. So we'll be adding our tools here, and like you could see here, this is the way I'm just using my endpoint. Okay, so whatever the endpoint I'm trying to do, same endpoint I'm just using it here, and from there I'm just trying to communicate. Okay, so but the one we need to observe here is that I need to do an authentication first, right? This is the place where I need to do authentication. Okay, so technically, if I'm going to create any application, right, as a .NET application or any cursor application, how I'm going to generate this one, right? This is something I don't know how this is actually connecting with the Sitecore, and how this page is opening, and how it's trying to give me the access to me, right? Because I need to do all this process. You see, I need to do all this process, but this is everything driving through your client, which is VS Code or Cursor, right? With the same thing I have to do from my from my .NET application or my Cursor application, from my Next.js application as well. So right? So this is something automatically taken care by your IDE. But if I want to do a custom MCP client, the same process what the client is doing automatically, that's something I need to do manually by myself, because the authentication type is external. Okay, so if you go and see this one, so the authentication type is external. Okay, that means it will always go to your external provider and it will try to authenticate from there. Okay, some MCP server doesn't have this one. In that case, it is straightforward. You can connect without having this pop-up opened and all those things. That way, it is very straightforward, and there will be no problem in doing that one. But in this Sitecore Marketer MCP, where our authentication type is external, so it's not possible for us to directly communicate from our .NET application. So it is not that straightforward. So we need to figure it out. What is your authentication server? What is your identity? How can I register my .NET application as a client? So all those things which we need to do. So technically what's happening behind the scene, right? So when I registered here, right? So technically this client is actually registered into Sitecore, and there is a bearer token. The authentication is happening from every prompt you're going to give. The authentication is happening through those things. Okay, so which is already handled by this VS Code. Okay, so let's see how we're going to implement this one in our custom .NET application. Okay, this will be applicable for your Next.js application as well. But let me show you the demo first in .NET. Okay, so first these are all the following steps which will be done when I want to do a custom connection from my .NET application to the Sitecore Marketer MCP. So first would be an initial handshake. Okay, so right now we got this URL from the Sitecore, right? So we got the URL already from the Sitecore. So that is the only URL I know as of now, because this is the only URL Sitecore provided to me to connect with Sitecore Marketer. But if I click this one, technically, so this will give me a invalid token or missing access token, right? So I can't able to communicate with this one directly, right? So I don't know how to do that. So I need to have an access token to do that. So, but in order to find the access token, how can I find the access token? Where can I get it? Where do I have any specific endpoint to get those tokens? So that is where it's a step-by-step process. How the model context protocol works, and how we need to do authorization, something like that. So in this scenario, right? If you go to this particular request, let me refresh this one. So yeah. So technically, first time this will give me the 401 error because I am not authorized user. So here, if you could see, there is one property which is called WW authenticate. So this one gives me where this all the authentication related information is actually living. We used to call it as model context protocol call this as a protector resource metadata. Okay, so this is this one protected resource metadata. This is from where we will be finding all our authorization server and other information. Okay, because I doesn't know any URL to find to authenticate myself, right? So technically, this is the one URL which I will be using it. Then based on that, the next step would be, so once I found this URL here, right? Then the next step would be I need to do the authorization server discovery. Okay, so what is that authorization server discovery? So this protected resource management given me one URL that from that one I got what is my authorization server. Okay, so say for example here my authorization server would be edge platform sitecore cloud.io. If that is my authorization server, then from there I need to get all the endpoints like I because say for an example I told you already, like we need to register our client, right? It's not a VS code, right? This is a different .NET application. So .NET application itself a client now for us. Okay, so I need to register a .NET application so that Sitecore aware. Okay, I am communicating from .NET application, so this is also registered. So I need to register in the in Sitecore XM Sitecore AI. So this will give me uh, a couple of details. Okay, so first this protected resource management is giving me the authorization server here. This would be exactly right. So this would be exactly this kind of a URL. So once that is done, I need to go and find my authorization server. Okay, so so here you could see there is dot well-known authorization server, and there is no documentation straight away that you can find this one. So how are we able to find this? Basically, if you go to the model context protocol website, where we having this way, like if this is the PRM which I just sharing about this one. So from here, if you want to do your authentication server discovery, so we need to go with this auth 2.0 server. So that is where this URL. So this is the URL. When I fire this URL will give me all the endpoints which I need to grab this information or register those things. Again, Sitecore following the standard practice. Okay, MCP, as I mentioned, MCP is a standard one. Everyone has to follow. So it is it basically everyone has to follow, right? So Sitecore also following the same standard. So that is where I'm just able to get it from this portal, MCP portal, and I can able to grab this URL. From that URL, I can able to um, get this information like what is my token endpoint. So these are all the endpoints you see. You see this below endpoints. So these three endpoints I actually got when firing this uh, server. Okay, I'll show that in action, but these are all the some things. Okay, so now I got authorization endpoint, registration endpoint, and tokenization endpoint, right? So using those things, we will be actually doing our registration of our .NET application, authorization. Authorization is basically means it will give you auth kind of auth code. Then tokenization basically it will give you a bearer token. That same token will be passed in each and every prompt which we will be using it. Okay, so that is exactly it will happen. Okay, this is basically the registration endpoint output. So when I trying to do the registration, you could see there is a client ID. So client ID, as I mentioned, every client will have its unique ID. VS Code, as I mentioned, that will have an ID, and similarly, .NET application also should create an ID. That ID we will be getting a response from the registration. When I try to hit the registration API with some data, so that will give me the unique client ID for my .NET application, so I can be able to register. Okay, now see, you could see this URL, authorized URL, right? This would be the exactly same URL which I just did from my this portal. So if where is this cursor, right? So let me log out this one. So if you connect here, so if you see this URL, right? This would be the same kind of a URL, authorized, and you see this is the same thing which is generated by the client, which is VS Code, right? It has all the information like you could see like code challenge. I will talk about the code challenge and all those things. It has a code challenge. It has um, the client ID. See, you could see this client ID. So this is the client ID for my VS Code. Okay. So this is something it is generated by default. So now in order to do the same, I have to generate the same as well, right? So um, technically, so this authorized URL, I need to build this authorized URL based on the information I got from the authorized endpoint. Okay, so I'll show you in action. Once the authorization endpoint is done, then finally, as I mentioned, I will be calling a token API, which is third endpoint. Uh, from that endpoint, I will pass all the other information which is captured from here, and based on that, I will be getting this access token, everything. Okay. So that is exactly how this is happening. So let me show that in action. Okay, before that, I'll show something to you guys. So how my subsequent communication will happen. Okay, so you could see there is a Sitecore token.json, right? So this is fine for now, but you could see there's access token, refresh token, and all those things. So these are all the information which I got from my token endpoint. Okay, you could see this token endpoint, which exactly I have showed in the before. So I actually storing this one in my application so that every subsequent prompt, right, I can directly using it from here instead of every time authenticating with the server. Okay, so for now I'm just going to delete it so that I can create from the fresh. Okay, so let me run it from the beginning. So first thing is I'm trying to get my access token. So that's the whole concept, right? So I need to get an access token, right? So let's do that. So as I mentioned before, right, we this is a discovery phase. We know only one URL, which is this protected resource, which I found it from the browser, which I just showed you before, right? So I found it from here, no, this one, protected web resource, right? This is the one. So this one. So ignore this part. This is a part which I basically come from here. Okay, this is not the. It's just appending it, but our thing is this from this place only. So this is the URL. So using that URL, now I know that. Okay, let me close this one. This is from cursor. Okay. Okay. Now basically from this URL, now I'm able to get all my authorization server. Let me go to quickly. I'll do. Yeah. So if you could see, I get my authorization server, which is this one. So I got my authorization server. Now, once I get the authorization server, now I will be doing this URL. So this is my new URL, which told you before. Like I went to a separate portal where I found this URL, right? This is the URL which I found it. Now this will give me 3 endpoints, right? So that is where going to happen in this stage. Okay, so if you go here, so again, I am firing the same URL here. So this is again going to Sitecore Edge Platform portal only. And now you could see here, I will be getting 3 endpoints for authorization, registration, and tokenization, right? So using the 3 endpoints only, I will be doing all the processing, which I just explained before. So now if I go here further down, say, now I'm actually going to do my registration of my particular .NET application, right? So, so if I'm going to do that, so if you could see here, so these are all some of the information I'm just putting my client name, it's my .NET MCP, what is my callback URL. So say for an example, after registration, right, you have to land on certain page, right? So that's your callback URL. Similarly, how your VS Code client is doing. So, um, and you could see auth code, refresh token, and my response time asking the response type as code. Okay, so these are all some of the default information I'm asking it to provide. So let's see what is the response here. The response for me would be the client ID. Okay, because I'm expecting the client ID. So this is the client ID, as I before mentioned. Every app should have come up with a unique client ID after the registration. So after I registered this app, now that app that is given me a client ID. Now using that client ID, I will be doing my authorization, right? So that's the next step. So if we go to this place, okay. Now before doing the authorization, one important thing which we need to remember is that the security mechanism, right? So because anyone can get into your server if they knows this URL with your the client ID. If anyone knows the client ID, anyone can get into your access to your MCP server, right? So that is where this code comes into picture. So initially I told you about the code challenge and all those things, right? So that's something the encryption we need to create that encryption keys so that the same key will be passed to the request so that no one can able to hack. Okay, so that's the basic logic behind that things. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this thing. Okay, so now here could see, so you see what I'm doing here, right? So this is basically my authorization endpoint. This is exactly the same endpoint with just site cursor created for me as a pop-up, right? It's a new window. This is exactly gonna do like response code, my client ID. You could see I'm passing everything here, my state, my map here, everything. So I created my what is this authorization URL. So this is just logs and all those things. Now I'm just going to open my URL. So you could see now exactly I'm doing the same thing. What site the VS Code is actually did cursor is did. So you could see my client ID is now new. This is my new client ID, which I just got from my registration endpoint, and I have the same redirect URL. My other things like challenges, code challenges, and all those things for security things. So this is for code challenges. With this is for security. Yeah. So yeah, now we got this information. So as you could see my callback and all the information which I just passed, you could see still me .NET Sitecore client MCP. So everything is coming from my application only. So again, it will follow the same process, right? It will take me to the same thing which we did manually from for your cursor or cloud, which it would be the same thing where I will be doing it. Okay. So now I'm selected my environment, my the application. So let's see. Okay, I think I in debug mode maybe. Yes, I'm in debug mode right now. See, so see now it is in debug mode. Let's do this one. Okay, now what's happening is basically right. So now it's given me one auth code. Okay, so technically what's happening, right? It's given me the auth code. You see the auth code. So this code has been given to me. Okay, so now using that code one, I can't directly use this code to do my MCP communication, right? So MCP communication need a bearer token to communicate, not not this token, not this code, but using this code only, I can be able to fetch my bearer token. That is where the token endpoints comes into picture. So I will be passing this information to them. So you could see I am passing this information in this below endpoint, where I could see all the data. I'm just passing. So I will be getting the actual uh, tokens. Okay, so you could see this one. So yeah, you can see my access token, all my client data, all the information is getting done. So that's how the process has been done in order to communicate with my marketer MCP. So now my client has been registered. I got a bearer token. I have everything to communicate with my Sitecore Marketer MCP. So the same thing I actually stored in my cache. So that is where you are getting this information, like your item is already stored in cache. Okay. Now you could now I have created a um, uh, site Google AI Studio account. Okay, so it's a free. I'm using the free LLM model so that I can try to communicate with this Sitecore Marketer MCP. Okay, so let me do that. So you could see now it is asking me for the input. So I'm just gonna say like, would you please list me all the sites? Okay, so So what's exactly happening right now? So right now, as I mentioned, I just selected the prompt. Now it should be coming here. Okay. If you could see the response right there. Huh? So you could see this is in action right now. So see, I'm not actually calling the agent API directly from here. I'm just using my FCP with the plain words here. Now, so it's proves that my .NET application, which is my console application, which is able to which is rightly connecting with my Sitecore AI portal based on my authentication, which I just selected. So now this is giving me all the information to me. I can go ahead and do the same thing again and again, but this is how it is trying to communicate with um, my application to Sitecore. Okay, so exactly this is the same screenshot over there. Okay, now now. Now, basically, if I want to do the same thing in a cursor, right? We will see that in the cursor app soon. But right now we'll talk about the app which we're gonna create, right? So right now I able to create this. I can able to communicate customly from my .NET application. So I can replicate the same thing from a Next.js application or any other application. End of the day, the concept is same, right? So now. So once I have this information, enough information, in Sitecore Marketplace app, so there is one app which is the regular app where you can have the custom authentication, right? So we will be creating the custom authentication thing, so that for the app. So based on that, we will be able to try to communicate with this the marketer MCP, because client side app will not be work, and also. Here we I need to externally use a server call to the um, the marketers, right? The marketer MCP. So I'm using the authentication mechanism, which is custom authentication. Okay. So before that, this is all the same thing. What I'm just mentioned is full stack application. Full stack application is what I'm talking about, which is the custom authentication, which will be going to do. This is a client side application, client side authentication, which we're not going to do because by default the authentication to your marketplace app is built in. But here we need to create authentication, which everyone knows already. Right? So yeah. Now this we'll see soon. Let me go. Before that, let me go to one thing in Sitecore portal. Okay. Now, as a marketer, right? Um, as a marketer, we have site before when I initially starting this one, so that way we don't have this capability to do these actions in Sitecore AI portal. But now Sitecore AI portal has the opportunity for the marketers to do the same actions. Okay, what exactly I'm doing it. Okay, so say for an example here. Okay. So you could see here, let me do here again. So, so again, this is the inbuilt portal in Sitecore AI, where you can where the marketer can do the activities directly. But again, this is based on the chat prompt. But again, this is nothing we created a separate application. Okay, but we will be creating a separate application. But this is something there's option for the marketer to do the same as well. So here, there's option where we can select MCP server, which is the Sitecore Marketer MCP. I can just select this one. Again, we have a lot of other MCP servers if you want, we can do, but our focus is on the Marketer MCP. So if I click this apply, so by default now the Marketer MCP is in action selected. So I can just go ahead and ask and give me all the list of sites. Okay, if I select the prompt, and by default this will give me the information. Say for an example, it internally check all those details, and it will give me all the same um, the information about the sites which the .NET client has given to me, right? So again, I can do a lot of prompt here, asking that. Say for an example, I can do the same thing here one more time. All the available. Again, here we are trying to call the tools here. Okay, Sitecore Marketer. This internally it will call the agent API to does this job. So Sitecore Marketer API always calls an agent API to do all these actions. Okay, so say for an example, if I again want to do a personalization, right? So as I mentioned before, we also have a personalization concept as we can easily do it from this prompt, right? So here, say for an example, here you could see here. I just asked the prompt in the same Sitecore AI portal only. Hey, go ahead and create a personalization rule for this about us page and about page. So it has actually created me the personalization variant right now for me. So if you could see here, okay, it's again expired session. Okay, while that is going on, I will quickly go to here. Just see if you could see here. I just asking please create a personalization. Again, I selected the marketer MCP tools here. Okay, so I just asking to create a personalization for Friday. Friday for about item site basic site. Okay, this is what I asked for, and it successfully find the item on two different websites because I not specifically mentioned the website name. So it found both places. Then I specifically asked for basic site. Then you could see I asked for basic sites, and it found out their details for me. Okay, if I could confirm this one, it's not created yet. If I confirm this one, let's see it's creating or not. So you could see this is now is doing all the actions for me, creating the personalization variant here. Uh, yes, it's going doing. Yep, I think it is done. It's created the personalization for the about page. So previously, let me go to editor here. So this one, right? I asked him to create for the about page. If I refresh this one, let's see if that is shown here or not. Yeah, you could see the upload page now had this personalization icon right now, right? So if I click this one on the personalized tab, I asked for Friday, right? This is exactly what I asked for, right? So now it is actually personalized. I can check what exactly the audience which is created for me. So it's a base, it is Friday something. So basically I asked for Friday and it actually created for me. Again, behind the scene it is calling the agent API, but I'm actually using yeah, friendly natural languages to the market MCP server, and we can see that it's actually doing it. Okay, but the point here is that this is not the app, right? So this is something default. But as a developer, we will be creating different kinds of apps which will provide a lot of features, right? Lot of options. So let's see how we actually build that um, in here. Okay, page editor. Okay, perfect. Okay, so before I'm gonna show this one, okay, technique, as I mentioned, there's two options right now. So after recently, Sitecore also provided a inbuilt way to call the marketers, Sitecore MCP in the app itself, okay, directly in from the app. But again, as what we discussed in the beginning, like custom way as well. So I built both here as well. One, so you could see there is two chatbot, one chatbot here, which is this one, and also one chatbot here. So this is two chatbot. So this is basically Sitecore's inbuilt way to communicate with Sitecore Marketer MCP from the Marketplace app. Okay, this is the way which I discussed with you guys, like how to grab all this information and build that one, right? But this one is recently came. This one is not there before when I started implementing this one, but this is recently came. But this will be this if you want to create in a different applications in a different application, nothing to do app or something. If you want to communicate from your other applications, then this way would be very easy, useful for you guys. So um, let's see this one. So you could see when I click the button, immediately it went to this one, right? Again, it know like this is an Next.js MCP client, and again it's doing the same thing. Even you could see this the callback URL. Again, I'll show this settings quickly, as everyone aware of Marketplace app. So I will just touch it. Okay. So once I give him the access, right? Again, same logic. It will ask for all this informations here. Okay. So okay, that's fine. I can just refresh it and it should load for me. Okay. Now I actually connected with my, okay, again, I think I should have copied that one. Wait a minute. The browser back button is missed. Okay, here comes. So technically, it's so the point here is, as I mentioned before, now the client has to be created, right? So that is what it's trying to do. But I am the callback URL. It is breaking, so that's where it's having a problem. But again, there's a. I'm just going to enable the callback URL. Give me a second. There is this next USA. This one. Okay, that will break definitely. That's fine. If you go to this URL here, you have this callback code. Maybe I can copy this URL. Somewhere, let me open the browser first. Enter it here. Okay, now that is done. Where is it? Here. If I now try to refresh this one, if I click this one, yeah, you could see now the chat part is open for me. So basically, the code I have written have some problem in opening the URL should be open so that it will be client is registered. But technically the client is registered, but I have to open in a new window. Okay, so now if I ask the same question here, list all the available sites. Again, this is also connecting with my Google Gemini account using Sitecore AI Studio. So let's see if this loads. Yeah, it actually given me the response. So this way also works right now, right? So now, as I mentioned, one more way is that Sitecore now provided one other way, which doesn't need this many of a complexity. Okay, so if I want to connect with out of the box Sitecore thing, so Sitecore has provided one easy way to do it, which is the context ID approach. Okay, so everyone aware of the context ID, right? So what I just did now is basically I need to select open a pop-up. I need to select my environment, website, and everything, right? And so I need to do all the things, right? Everyone knows that the purpose of context ID, right? So now in the new approach, we will be just sharing the context ID. Okay, using the context ID, now the application, the marketplace application will aware, hey, you are trying to connect with this particular environment and particular site, and I can able to get all the information on the particular site. Okay, now there should definitely there should be a bearer token need, right? You need a token as well, right? So but that token, you if you're already using this marketplace app, we already having a bearer token. When you having using this there's a code to get it, the token, bearer token, right? So that token will be internally passed. Okay, so I can show it before getting into this informations. Okay, now, so this is exactly what I'm talking about right now. So uh, right now, first of all, in order to do that, so Sitecore provided we are going to use the context ID, but there is a lot of SDK, AA SDK available out there, like Vessel SDK, OpenAI SDK, and all those different SDKs available outside, which we can use to implement this function. Because at the end of the day, we have to communicate with LLMs, right? But each and every LLM has their own way of doing it. So right now, I'm using Versal SDK to implement this chat. Okay, so right now, so you could see there is a way how I'm going to do it. So basically, I'm creating some chatbot, and this is the AI SDK method, and this is authentication, all those things, right? So so this will again, this is our new AI. You could see there's a AI SDK. That is again the SDK which I'm going to use, and then once it is done, so internally it will call my marketer API MCP server, and from there I can able to communicate with so I can able to communicate with by all the pages, content, and all the other information to do my modification, everything there. Okay, so this is exactly what we're going to use here. As I mentioned, I'm going to use the Versal SDK. Okay, now okay, now let me go back here. Okay, no, okay. Now, when I click this button again, so if you could see, now this is immediately opened me the default thing, because this doesn't need a pop-up, which I mentioned already. The bearer token is already there in Marketplace app. Technically, I got my context ID, and from there, if I just say list all the sites again, let's see what's happened. This is again, it's calling ASDK. With again, I'm using my Gemini only. Okay, so now this is the you could see there's a different response. Again, mostly it is also giving me the same data as well. Okay, so this is how we actually implemented. Now let me show you the cursor app, which is developed basically. Okay, so let's close this window. So now this is again the same. This is not needed for us now. Okay. Uh, okay. The first thing is let's see how the Sitecore's inbuilt marketer SDK is working, so that we can understand. So wait a minute. This client, it should be, it's here. Okay, so this is the parameter which I'm talking about. So Sitecore's inbuilt connection to the MCP server is basically this information I just need to pass. Okay, so as I mentioned, I just need to pass my context ID, which is this one, and everyone knows where this context ID comes from. This context ID comes from your live or preview environment, right? From there we can get the context ID, and this is the way this should be always to be the same only. Like SC resource should be marketplace, and SC marketplace ads should be interactive/v1. This once we do this one, and again you see this authorization. This is again a bearer token which we already getting from the app itself. Okay, so again you could see somewhere I see Gemini key and something, right? This is basically for my connecting to LLMs. So that's where I'm doing it. So again, now you could see once I did this one MCP client, now this is connected with my MCP client. Now I can iterate all my tools of MCP. Again, you could see like I'm just selecting particular list site here. The reason is that I'm in the free AA account, LLM account. Okay, so I can't load lot of context to the window, right? So I'm just selecting a specific tools right now, so that I can just query for that one using the normal language. Again, you could see this is the tool name. This is the exact tool name which is in the MCP. Okay, but I used a natural language call, like give me all the list of the sites. That is what I asked for, right? But technically, this internally try to find this particular tool, and it will able to fetch the agent API, relevant agent API, and it does all the job for us. Okay, so that is exactly what happening there. These are all again the Googles and all those. I'm doing this one. Okay, so this is how the default one works. Again, if you're thinking about how the other the custom one works, is basically again the same logic. What okay, before that I want to show you this one, right? So you could see the same thing. I'm using it ASDK here, and again it's I'm using the Google SDK to communicate with this one. Again ASDK with communication to Google. Okay, so I'm using this one to in order to do the connections. Okay, again if you're checking about how I'm actually doing my um, custom one, right? Not the out of the ones. Okay, here everything will be same code logic which we did it in the .NET application. Okay, again I'll be using the same APIs which we used to protect a PRM. Everything, all the things will be the same. So from here you could see there's a MCP folder here, authorization, callbacks. Again, the process is the same. I don't want to get into more details there, but the process is the same. The process would be always the same. So hope that is clear. So now let me also highlight one thing before. If anyone wants to create a custom authentication for the full stack application, it is very important that we need to use auth0 Next.js. Okay, that's the one thing which we need to do. It's not the standard way how we are creating the authentication. So this is very much important for us. Okay, so example, in the Marketplace app, is it? There's a Marketplace app. Okay, I should have opened somewhere. Okay, it's here. So here, right? So we actually creating this client credentials, right, for the full stack application. So if you're creating the client credentials, right? So let me load that one. So before I'm getting in, you could see all the callbacks URL. So without this one, your Marketplace app will not work for this one. But I'm just putting, this is my custom. You need to create a custom DNS domain. Your Marketplace app can do the callbacks and all. Okay, once you did this one, right? So in order to do the authentication ways, right? So we need to create auth0 Next.js authentication. This is something you can find it here. Okay, so here we can follow the same thing. We can create a client ID, client secret, which is again the same thing. What are the client ID, client secret, which is generated using the client credential from the Marketplace app. We'll be using the same thing, and you could auth domain is something. Okay, you could see this is important, which is auth secret. So the auth secret is basically your you need to create the auth secret. Okay, if technically again, again for your hacker, if someone hacks your thing, you know, so that is the reason you want to do some encryption for this authentication purpose. So that's basically for auth secret. So you will be creating a secret from this OpenSSL. So you'll be creating the secret, and that will be stay on your server. in your local server, and it will be same pass to your subsequent communication when happening with your Marketer MCP, okay, and it will be encrypted behind the scene, okay, using the ASDK, okay. So this is something I have created. So without this, the custom regular web app authentication will never gonna work, okay. So that's very, very important, okay. Now we have checked all this. That is the presentation. Okay. What happened to the presentation? Okay. Now we already created those things, right? Now one thing I just want to inform you guys, like before that. As I mentioned that one thing related to Agent API, which I just missed it before that. So Agent API has one feature called jobs. Okay, so this feature is very, very important when you guys are working on something. Say for again, this jobs feature is basically dedicated for a developer. It's not for the marketers. Okay, and this is not in the MCP server as well. So example, the server doesn't have the jobs kind of a tools. Okay, only the agent API will have the jobs tools, jobs APIs. Okay, so what is exactly the jobs? Say for an example, as a user, the client comes to you and asks you to create some items in CMS, right? So you actually created some items in CMS. Okay, and later they come and ask you to modify some of the fields in the CMS. Okay, you did this fields changes. Okay, again, say for again, sometimes they come and ask you to create a bulk items, like a lot of items. You created that one. Okay, after some time, the client asked me, hey, go ahead and roll back these changes. I don't want those changes. I want to have the previous state. Okay, so technically it's very, very difficult to maintain the previous state. Okay, because everything is already been modified multiple times. The field level changes has been happened. Many versions would be already created. A lot of things happened on that one, right? So the jobs is very important here. Okay, if I want to do a rollback, right, I can go to the point from original. Okay, from the original, what all the changes would be reverted, and it will have the original state, okay, of that particular item. Say for example, if you created the item, the original state is without that item, right? So Sitecore will never going to have that item itself. Okay, so these are very, very important thing about jobs. So I can show you that in action quickly. Okay. Okay, so say for an example here, I'm going to create an item here. Okay, keep a note of this particular ID here, this ID, sorry, header variable here. Uh, so this is, as I mentioned, this is an agent API URL. This is for everything. Okay, all the tools will internally call this agent APIs URLs only. But again, for jobs, as I mentioned, there is no such MCP tools available. Okay, this is purely for developers. Okay, think about it. So now again, same logic. I'm just using my Barra token, which I generated from my automation engine from Sitecore. This is a static. This is something you can specify the job, the purpose of the job. Okay, this is a unique ID for all the set of actions you are actually gonna do. Okay, if I want to roll back that action, I can just pass the job ID and I can roll back my things. Okay, so here, if you could see, I can do one thing called. Oh, okay, this is a response. Okay, there's a response. Okay, I need to do the body here. Okay, let me go ahead and do a test 4 item here. And again, this is the requirement body for this one. But I'm just asking you to create an item name 4, right? I'm just going to do that. Let's see, my ballot token is still valid. Yeah, it's created my item here. So if I go to Sitecore immediately, I think I'm seeing in the screen, right? Yeah, here. If I refresh this page, so we have test 4 is coming there, right? So that's exactly what we are trying to do here. Okay, so test 4 is come. So but again, this test 4 is now tied to this particular job ID, which is this job ID. Okay, so if I want to roll back, I can just go ahead and use this one to do that. So now the next thing would be, I can just see all the operation which I performed for this particular job example. If that is the case, I can get all the operation which I just did it. So you could see I just did a create page workflow, because I just created a page there, right? Item there. So this is exactly showing us what exactly has happened right now. And again, based on my job ID, you could see this is now created me a job ID. Okay. Now, Again, if I want to get a specific details of that thing, I can able to get more details of that particular job. Okay, so something like that, it will give me with us all the information about that. But again, if I want to revert the job, this is what our focus is, right? So you could see now I can try to revert this particular item which I created it. This is my job ID, right? Okay, I hope my barrel document is not expired. Okay, so technically it says all my activities got reverted. Maybe if I refresh it here, let's see if the test 4 item is there or not. It shouldn't be there. So you could see test 2 also gone, test 2 one test 4 also gone, right? Because everything is created based on that particular job ID. Okay, as I mentioned, it's not only the item creation. You can do any actions, right? You can do a field level modification, anything. Okay, whatever you guys did using this job, I think we can be able to modify it. Okay, that's the purpose of that job. Okay, one thing which I just want to again, this is the same way how we're going to create a marketplace app, um, the querying and all those things. Okay, now let's see. Now everyone knows how to use marketplace app, right? So now how you gonna call the agent API directly from marketplace, right? Is there any way to call the agent API directly from marketplace app? Yes, we have a way to we have a way to call uh, the agent API from the marketplace app. How we gonna do that? So if you go to the cursor, right? If you go to the cursor, you can go to any pages, but I can show it here is easy for me. So you could see here, right? It's very straightforward to go here. Let's go to query. So if we want to do this one, xmc dot. So you could see like all the agent related things is coming here. So whatever I did in my the postman, right? Everything I can do it from my marketplace app itself. So technically, I'm actually going to call all my agent APIs from here itself based on my app's requirement. Again, if you don't want to use MCP server, if you want to use directly agent API, yes, we can go ahead and use it. But if you want to use MCP, right, with the LLM, then it's a different. Okay, so technically I have all the things. So you could see job is there, right? So we just what we discussed about job, get job description, all those things, right? um, Listing site, you see there is a listing site is also available. Sorry, this is not agent, sorry. Yeah, so, so yeah, pages and all the sites and all the information is available. Yeah, so that's one thing which I just want to highlight here. If you guys are planning to do agent API call from the marketplace app. Okay, so one recent addition to Sitecore AI is that like the brands skills. Okay, so basically we briefs, basically the briefs, which is recently we can able to create a briefs and all those things in Sitecore AI portal, right? So if you want to do that, right, Sitecore while creating the marketplace app, we just need to give one permission for in order to create the briefs, something like this AI skill APIs. If you already selected this one, so maybe we can able to do our briefs in the AI portal. Okay, so if we could see here the code in cursor, so you could see this is the one which will call the brand. This is a new um, SDK things they actually given us. So you could see here Marketplace SDK with AI. This is something which is new. Like similarly how the client and MCP is coming, right? So this is also a new thing, an experimental feature, which we gonna use it, and we can do our changes. We can call our brand reviews and all those things, which we can do it. Okay. So if you could see that in action, I have created that one already. AI dot, I hope so. Yep. So this is the server side of the same. So before I showed you the client side where I'm just using query dot all those things, right? Here I'm just using the server side of this async function. So it's a server side of this one. So again, I'm just reading the brand review here, right? So where I'm just passing my brand kit and input. Again, I am passing the Sitecore context ID. So this is a new feature which we can also use it for your way of using brands and all those things. Okay. Let's go and open it here. These are all same thing which we will be using again, which we aware of already. So how to create a marketplace app and what is MCP, how to do this, all those things. I think yes, that's mostly from my side. Um, is there any questions? And these are all the reference links for you, informations, all the details which where I got this information from. Any questions on those things which we discussed?
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Nelson, it's really great session, great insight, and I guess definitely all needs to go into it and try to do some stuff on their own, and then maybe they'll come up with some questions. But there is one question in the chat, if you see. So
Okay, where is the
it's
chat?
it's like more kind of custom Sitecore MCP that we already talked about. I guess that is from Anthony, right? And now we have Sitecore Marketer MCP,
Yes,
and
yes.
the custom MCP provides, I guess, around 100 tools, and still Sitecore MCP is having around
56.
56 tools.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So have you like tried that customer Sitecore MCP? Sorry, the custom Sitecore MCP.
Yeah. No, no, that I actually tried, but not like this one. I fully integrated with this one, but that has
Okay.
yes, I mentioned right, it has many tools, but this is going forward. This will be our go-to, right? So, and I can
Okay.
able to easily communicate with my this one marketplace as well. Now, if I'm communicating in that one, that will have a different authentication mechanism, all those things. Again, similarly, what I did just now, again, I need to do the same thing over there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know whether that is, I don't think so. It has like briefs and brand kits available right now. Maybe these are all some of the new things. Again, Sitecores keep introducing features
Mm-hmm.
over here. So this will be updated as soon. But yeah, again, logic would be the same. If you want to communicate with that one, again, we need to follow the same model context protocol way of discovery, authentication, tokenization, everything. We do the same thing if you want to try with that one on the Next.js app, and we can import it to the Marketplace app.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Is
Uh,
anybody else having any question?
I don't think there are some question, and we are also very
Already
late.
over time.
So
Yep.
yeah. So thank you so much, Nelson, for such insightful and informative session. We really appreciate you talking the time, you taking the time to share your knowledge, experience, and insight with us. And we thank you to everyone who joined us today and made this meetup a success. We hope to see all of you again in our upcoming meetups with more interesting sessions and discussions. Once again, thank you everyone so much. And so have a great day, great evening ahead, and see you all in the next user group meetup.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.